I'm Nick Mara, and this is After the Turns. Welcome to After the Turns. We're back. There was a couple of people that were trying to cancel culture us, but we somehow made it back. So please tell those friends. I'm sure they're really excited that we're back on the air. And I don't know if you heard my voice cracked a little bit. I think I must have got so nervous on the initial read. So, but it is good to be back. It's been, I guess, maybe 3.5 months or so since we've done an episode. Obviously, I've got Matt with me, who I get to see quite a bit. So welcome back. And we've got a special guest. You can see the number. Bradley Burk with us, that sexy blue and black car on the track every week. So Bradley, how are you this afternoon, or I guess this evening now?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you guys?
I'm doing really well. Fantastic. How can we not? How can we not? I guess Matt could talk to us probably a little bit about, what the last few months have looked like, but I don't know if anything happened over the past couple of weeks. We kind of just got dragged into a show. So, Matt, why don't you tell us a little bit about where we've been, what we've been doing, and maybe what we will be doing.
We've been hanging out a little bit. COVID was not happening as much, and so we had more hot girl summer, fall going to fall. I guess maybe more so you than I, and I think a lot going on. And so we kind of ended abruptly 3.5 months ago now. And I know Nick and I have been talking about every other time we get together. And, hey, we're going to start this back up again. When are we going to get going again? And I think there's a couple things that we were like, okay, if or when we come back, I think we're going to change a couple things, right? So one, I don't think we're going to have a regular cadence or scheduled episode every week. I know, Liam, you better be a weekly thing. I don't think we're going to go back to that. But we still enjoy doing it, right? So I do think it will kind of be like this. I would expect at least one a month, if not a little more often. I think there was a lot of, especially myself running poorly and on Monday, and then having to rush and put everything together while I'm still pissed off about the race before. And there's just with work and life, a lot to keep up with. So I think we want to make sure we're having fun here. And so we're going to continue doing this, just a less of a cadence. But we certainly want to continue to keep involved with the community here. And then I think the other one, which everyone can agree with, we're going to try to keep these shorter. We said an hour for today. We'll see. We'll see where it goes. I know Nick, I love my 3-hour podcasts. But an hour would be more appropriate. So we'll start with those, less of a cadence, but continue going and shorter episodes. So I think those are what we're going. And I guess really we're all at liberty of how long Sam keeps the chat open, I guess, is how long the podcast has to go, right? In the background.
Yeah, I think what have I been doing? Well, tonight it's been a lot of Harry Potter talk. Wow. I'm very new to watching Harry Potter for the first time. We were talking about this yesterday. I was figuring out what house I was. I am a Hufflepuff. People probably know what that means. So not a surprise. I think I'm a Hufflepuff on the racetrack for sure. But just not very good. But yeah, I think, Matt made a lot of really good points there. We'll be doing this. I think we'll probably be doing this maybe once or twice a week. Yeah, sorry. I knew the Harry Potter talk was going to be a hit.
But you started off of iRacing. Better watch.
Yeah, exactly. You haven't seen me on the track because I've just been so obsessed with Harry Potter. Also, the chat makes a really good point. I'm actually really sad because we are about 4 weeks away from the virtual clash, and I will not be the defending winner anymore, nor most likely will Matt and I be racing in that actual race, because the plan is, COVID pending, we're going to be at the real clash. So maybe I can get Evan as defending champion to push the date back about a few days, so I have at least a chance to get lapped in my defending race. That would be the goal. So I have to assume it's going to be like at the Coliseum, right? So Oh no, we're not retiring. We're definitely not retiring. Should we talk a little bit about? Should we wait to maybe tell them what maybe our thoughts are for the year though, or do we do
No,
that?
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Why not?
Yeah. So obviously we're not very good. And you know, as happy as I think everyone is about NASCAR, probably putting that 670 horsepower in pretty much at all the tracks. I think my strength when Jeremy Miller wasn't crashing everyone was the long runs of the 550 package. Strength meaning like 10th to 20th. And obviously that's not going to be the case anymore. So I'm a little concerned about how the year is going to go. But I think, you know, Matt and I, we're probably going to run, I don't know, maybe 2/3 of the races, half to 2/3. I think it's going to just kind of depend on no road courses. That's for
Screw that.
sure. Yeah, not after last year's debacles, unless I just want a good laugh. Maybe we'll do a little bit of that. I probably got to see the schedule, but I would assume maybe about half to 2/3, depending on the tracks, what that looks like. And
no sponsors. So we were sponsored last year. I think that was part of hey, we got to get out there for our sponsors, even though I really hate this track. And I think getting back to looking back at iRacing as a hobby and not a sponsorship obligation or a chore, right? So we'll have fun with it. I'm sure, especially at the tracks that we're not good at. I'm sure everybody will be appreciative that we're not on the track. So
yeah. I agree with that. I think I'm curious to see what the schedule looks like. I think some of it will depend on how many road courses there's going to be as well. I know that I'm assuming everything will probably be same time Monday night, so we could probably do a decent amount there. So I guess we'll kind of take it from there and kind of see what we do. But yeah, we will not be there every week this year. That I could say for sure.
But we're going again, which I think is hopefully exciting after 3.5 months of people not really knowing what's going to happen, ghosting everyone on the season finale episode, and just kind of sponsoring half the field, but not.
I was going to say, if you sponsor half the field, we have to have some sort of content at least once in a while. So yeah. I cannot tell you how many Mara Motor or Mara Racing Network cars I've seen pass me or be around me through the last 7 or 8 weeks. So it's a reminder that we need to be at least doing a little bit of content for all the sponsorship money that we're paying or you're paying. So definitely not me.
So we got Bradley here. So Bradley, what are your plans for the 2022 season? Looking forward.
As of right now, I'm gonna be in RSR again. It's really the only league that I do. I mean, I run official here and there, but I just really don't have time to devote myself to it. Like I said earlier, it's more of a hobby than anything.
Oh yeah. So how did iRacing doesn't just become a hobby. So how did you get into iRacing originally? How did you hear about it? How long have you been in iRacing?
So I actually started league racing on Xbox 360, and it was like NASCAR Inside Line 2011 or something like that. Wow. And from there, I happened to meet this guy named Ryan Dyson, and he ended up running a league on Xbox as well, and it was sponsored by Unitechnics and everything. It was like their official league. Mm-hmm. And I had to try out for that, and I worked my way in there, and I raced in there for a couple of seasons, and then he ended up wanting to move the league to iRacing around 2013 or 2014, I believe it was, and I ended up following them over to there and racing in there until pretty much until we found RSR.
And how long have you been in RSR then for?
Last season was my second full-time Cup season. This is my first time racing winter. So I think like a full year maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw your starts went back to I think early 2020. You had been doing some league racing back to look like 2015. So you've been doing iRacing for a while. I guess when you made that transition from the Xbox League to iRacing, obviously some different requirements there. Were there a lot of people who fell out, or was there some some controversy about moving from console. I mean, obviously, iRacing is a lot better game, but how is that transition to the better platform?
For most of the league, I mean, they kind of wanted to go with Upper Edge, so I'd say probably 80% of the league went with us to iRacing. So we kind of all got to learn iRacing at the same time with each other, and it just kind of went from there. It was definitely interesting. I had been, looking at iRacing, but I never committed to buying a wheel or anything until, the league that I raced in decided that they were going there.
So even on Xbox, you were using a controller in your league?
Yep, I was on the controller.
Yeah.
So I think do we kind of all just pretty much assume that anything console related at this point is just pretty much crap, or was it almost better like 7 or 8 years ago?
I would honestly say when it was on 360 and first went to the new Xbox, the games were way better than they are now. Like, I don't even play any NASCAR games on console whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you wonder, are we just spoiled with iRacing, or is it really that the console games are that bad? And I did play, I think it was NASCAR Heat 3. I took my iRacing setup and I hooked up my G29 to my PS4 and played, and I kind of enjoyed it, but it was very short playing the career mode, and spent maybe a couple days playing, but nothing like iRacing. It's a different game, right?
Yeah,
So,
I think, I mean, if you do iRacing, even like we said, it's a hobby, but we do it quite a bit. I think if you are so used to the realism from that, it's really hard to go to, because the console games, they kind of want it to be arcade-ish, so most people can play it. And I think once you have that realistic feel from iRacing, it's hard to enjoy those arcadey games.
well, that's interesting with iRacing's announcement of purchasing was it Motorsport games, or the previous publisher, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it was not that game. It was different. It was an older one, I think, for sure.
If we get a console game out of iRacing at some point, but I know the current developer has the rights to the end of the 2029, so probably won't say anything anytime soon. But those of us with PCs, I don't think there's any reason to go back. I'm sure those that you were with in the league are very happy that they made the switch to iRacing. The realism is definitely top notch with iRacing.
Yeah, definitely. There was some people might have heard of him. His name's Corey Hoover. He was, I mean, the fastest guy in Upper Edge once we went to iRacing, and he actually ended up becoming like a factory real life race car driver for a BMW team.
Wow. We need more. We need RSR drivers doing that.
Yeah,
Real life drivers.
I don't think that's. I don't know how possible that actually is. There's some good talent at the top, but yeah, I don't know. And then so Bradley, how long have you been at Flat Out for? I know Matt and I, we do have a soft spot for Flat Out. Probably all the teams in some form or fashion. We either sponsor or talk to most of them. But how did you get to Flat Out, and what has that journey been like?
I think it was. I want to say either the first season of Upper Edge on iRacing, or it was about halfway into the second one. The guy who was actually doing my paint schemes, me and Grant raced with each other, but we never talked really. We actually kind of, at first, didn't like each other. We always ended up, I don't know, making contact somehow during the races, it seemed. And then just one day, his name's Corey Blevins. He was doing my paint schemes, and he told me that Grant was wanting a teammate, and it just kind of went from there. And we became pretty good friends since then. We don't really wreck each other as much anymore.
I would hope not. I've actually met Corey when I went to Indianapolis.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had an extra ticket because our other brother couldn't go, so I ended up giving him that ticket. So
wow, how did that happen?
I reached out on Discord. I think I was like, I'm not going to, because our other brother didn't have the ticket for that race. So He had work, so he wasn't able to go. So I was just like, I'll just give it away. So I think he lives in Arkansas because he drove up from Arkansas same day. I remember. So Chase Elliott fan.
Yep.
Didn't work out.
Yeah, Liam. There's Nick and I are triplets, and then we're 2 of 6. So there are 4 more of us.
Yeah, I would say that's a pretty large team. I think we had joked about our other brother being in the sim, but I don't think he could do it. I don't think he's, if we're below average, I think it would take him too much ramp up time to get average.
Well, I bought him the Iracing. So there was a yearly subscription. Like, I don't think it was a Black Friday deal, but it was when the next gen cars came out. They had a yearly deal for $20 for a year, and so I bought him the yearly membership. I don't think he's signed in. So yeah, I don't think there's any hope there. But yes, if we were, I think as far as the Mara Motorsports banner, if we were ever going to have to, or if we were ever going to add someone to compete for an owner's title that we would never be able to compete for, it would obviously have to be another Mara. So
and well, I agree. Yeah, well, that's because nobody will take us. So
it's
when Kaczynski's not asking you to be on the team, you know that you're not doing something right. So I guess that's where we're at. So we haven't had any offers to join any teams. I will say, what we do is, it's not the easiest thing in the world. It seems easy to us because we can do it. But if you I had a few weeks ago, I had a friend over, and, they've heard about the sim, and they've obviously seen my fantastic announcing work that I've done and a little bit of podcast. So I got them on the sim just to do a lap around Daytona. And it was, getting up to speed was a real challenge, just getting through the gears. And even at Daytona, which we think, you're talking to a front row Daytona 250 pole sitter. So fourth in the duel that he ran, and then crashing on pit road from the top 5 in last year's Daytona 250. He could not even get up to speed and get through a turn without crashing. So is that something that did make me laugh for probably till the end of time? Yes, but it's it is not the easiest thing in the world. It's just, it seems easy to us, and it's not. So and also Clash winner. So yeah, that's right. So
well, that's why you can scale back to part-time. You got the one win, and you can just kind of sit back on that for forever.
Well, he's got more wins than me now.
That's true. Well, you said it. I don't know what you're talking about. We have to hold it. We have to hold it for a few more minutes, I think, because
nobody wants to hear about that, Bradley. This isn't about you.
Network, so we can't bring it up until the end of the show.
I'm just trying to boost his confidence a little.
Yeah. True. Well, and Matt makes a really good point. I do agree with you. Honestly, that takes a lot of the pressure off for having to run all these races, because I'm already the best there was. So there's no reason I proved it in the first race that I'm already fantastic. So
was that your? Oh no, you did Winter Series. So
I did the Winter Series.
Yeah. You did 10 races before that.
Well, it was amazing because that day I won the pole for the Clash. Then I won the Clash, and I
qualified second for the 250. You locked in. Yeah.
And everybody was probably like, I was the Kevin King. They were like, wow, I got another Kevin King, and then not even remotely close to that for the rest of time. I did get 10th in Martinsville, though. I know.
First top 10 of the year. Yeah.
I should have had a lot more, though.
Yeah.
No, I'll never forget. There's a couple races that I'm never going to forget. It's really that fall Daytona race still hurts a little bit.
Oh yeah, you were ready to quit the league after that.
That was after I was ready to quit. Oh my God, that's right. We didn't even do a podcast. It was after the Talladega one, where I was running. I was going to restart 5th on the last restart, and then there was a glitch that sent me behind everybody who pitted.
We were actually on the radio with Bradley. Bradley, you were on the radio with us. We were working.
Yeah, that was the most. I almost cried afterward. I was so upset. I have not been that mad racing related since Jeff Gordon at Martinsville, Texas, Phoenix, and Homestead back to back 2014. All the 4 of those weeks. I was so frustrated that day. I did tell Matt I was going to quit the league after that. I was so upset. But I was over it within like 24 hours. But
because you were running up front, and
I had such a shitty day that day.
Yeah, but you had done the strategy right where you can make it on fuel, and then a bunch of us pitted the top, or I think I actually ended up pitting with the KIR guys because I had messed up something. I can't remember what it was, but I ended up having to pit with the KIR guys, and we were gonna make it. But I had to pit off schedule, and then you had enough gas to make it, so you didn't have to pit. But there were a lot of other people who were close. So
yeah, I think they probably would have made it, but I was still like when that caution came out, a lot of people pitted, some crashed. Yeah, that was a sad day. So not a huge deal probably to a lot of people, but it was a few of those in a row where I was like, Matt, I was actually running reasonable, so pretty well. I was doing really well. I felt like I was doing really well at the end of the year. Now in this Xfinity car, after 20 laps, I can't even keep the tires on the car anymore. So that's unfortunate. And that's another reason why, Bradley, even though it hasn't happened because we haven't talked about it yet, I was very impressed with your run in New Hampshire, because I would have finished like 23rd in that 25 car race. Because
why don't we get to New Hampshire? We can stop bouncing around.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What are y'all talking about? I had already forgotten about
it. Yeah. So I think the last time, I think in the Winter Series, did we race? So we didn't race at New Hampshire in the Cup Series, but I think we did it in the Winter Series last year. And I think Nick, you and I ran like in the early, like the mid 30s the whole race. It was something awful.
Where was this?
New Hampshire in the Winter Series last year.
Oh, I actually ran well. There was a 30-car field, and I was running like 15th. Remember, that was a race I did a 2 pit stop strategy like an idiot, and I finished like 19th when that never should have happened. I should have finished like 15th or 16th, which is not great, but it wasn't awful. It was actually reasonable. But anyway, sorry, go ahead. People should know.
Regardless, I know I'm awful at New Hampshire, so I never wanted to do New Hampshire. Nick, why couldn't you do New Hampshire? I know he just got up, but I had no interest, and Milwaukee's one of our home tracks, and it's very similar. So I thought, I'm okay at Milwaukee. Maybe I'd be okay at New Hampshire, and I've done enough races there. New Hampshire is a very difficult track. I think that might be why we saw there were quite a few people up front in the top 10 that were not normally up there. So I think Nick, I don't know when you started tuning into the race. I didn't tune in until about 25 to go.
I had it on the whole time.
You did. Okay.
You asked why I didn't run. I got home right before like 7:30 would have hit, and I didn't have any practice. So, and then I saw the field, and it was a strong 25 car field. So there was maybe 2 or 3 guys. Like I think Muntasi is who I usually run around. I think we run next to each other every single week, which is fun. But he was like 21st, 22nd, and I was like, that's where I would have been. And that was with Andrew. Like that was within. That's that. He's good. We race a lot. I don't think we've ever ran into each other. But that was my benchmark as to how I would have gone, and I don't think it was worth it. So
yeah, that's got to enjoy it as a viewer instead.
Yeah, I mean, it was good.
So Bradley, what was the race like inside the car? Let's start at the beginning.
It was, for me, it was kind of a weird setup because I felt like the front end, it didn't want to turn, but once it did turn, I mean, you could be on the throttle, but you did. Old tires definitely were sketchy, but I mean, the setup felt so weird to me. I had almost like the rear brake dialed almost all the way back as far as it would go in the garage just to get the car to turn. So it was not easy. It definitely had its challenges, but I personally enjoy it. I like, having to slide the car around and use the brake and, not just be able to mash the throttle off the corner.
So I watched that race fully. I have some, So we ran. So I watched that whole race. Honestly, I thought the whole race was fantastic. You never really know how these races are going to go when Andrew's in it, because I think those type of tracks like New Hampshire and Richmond, Phoenix, he leads every single lap, and it's kind of like they always feel like Kyle Busch races, like in Xfinity, where it's like, man, that battle for second was good, but it didn't matter. It was always like the race was never in doubt. So Andrew had his problems early, and he wasn't in the front anyway. Matt, just for reference, he was probably going to be strong on the long runs, but he was right around fourth or fifth. And as a RSR, from a year and a half ago, Homer, I think we had Sam, Liam, and you, Bradley, that were racing basically for the win with Kevin, which I'm sure he's a great guy, but he just came into this league. So it was three guys that I was excited for, like any one of them winning, right? And we had Amara Motorsports or Amara Racing Network car up there too. So it was a really fun race to watch, and you were good on the long runs. That's where you seemed like maybe you were a little better than Liam and Kevin. So I guess, to set the scene a little bit, and Liam pitted first after he had lost the lead. He had a pretty big lead. Kevin had a pretty big lead in second over you, and then it was kind of you and Sam in third for maybe the last 60 laps or like right after that pit stop. So what were you thinking at that point? Did you think you can close in on those front two? What was the strategy, I guess, before those last maybe 15, 20 laps?
I mean, at first I was kind of shocked by the gap that, Liam got on those new tires. It kind of discouraged me a little bit because I knew I was fast on the long run, but I think he had 7 or 8 seconds on me, and I was just like, man, that's a lot of time to make up. And so I kind of got discouraged a little bit, but once I could see, on the relative, he was by about 20 laps into the run, he was coming back to me. I knew I would probably have a chance. So I got a little excited, but Sam was also on my ass the whole entire run. And I know Sam gets a little impatient sometimes.
I was gonna say, you guys were on the radio together at that point, right?
Yeah.
So is there a conversation like, hey, like, save the tires and not like hassle each other, or how does that work as teammates there?
In the first run after the first caution, I think me and Sam kind of seen that we were about the same speed, but we were definitely faster than the cars in front of us. And I came over the radio and I just said, hey, if we just keep our tires on it, I think me and you can go up there and battle for it. And that's kind of all that's really said. But I mean, on our team, if one of us feels like the other is faster, we'll usually just pop on the radio and say, I'll let you go after this turn.
Yeah, that was a really intense battle, like for third and fourth and fifth, and and then and then you on the long run, it happened on the first run. Honestly, the first run I was a little surprised. Mainly because we talked about this a little bit on Monday. I mean, sometimes we run around each other. You're usually ahead of me by at least a few spots, but I usually can at least see you in the distance.
Right.
And I was excited. I was really excited. I was like, I think Bradley's got a shot to win this race, even after that pit stop. And you pretty much were coming back the whole run. And then we get to about, I don't know, there was some incredible racing. Honestly, this was just such a good, I don't care if it's virtual or real life. It was just such a good race to watch. But, Liam and Kevin raced for a while. That brought you in to the battle for the lead. So I guess walk us through what you're thinking. I don't know if that was your first real opportunity at an RSR win, but maybe what, you're thinking from that mindset as well.
Well, I mean, I think it was my first season in Cup. It was at Martinsville. I mean, I had a chance to dump the dude for the win, and I can't remember who it was, but he ended up being terrible for the league, so I should have done it. But it was my first season in the league. It was, it was Martinsville. I think it was only.
I saw that you finished second. You finished second twice last year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, I could have won then, but really, I mean, I have terrible luck in this league. I don't know what it is. So once I seen them, start battling, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I got super anxious and excited, and I knew I had been taking care of my tires. So once I got to, I think it was like 2 seconds, I kind of just had to start planning how I was going to do the pass if they were going to keep battling, but they ended up getting past each other, and I just had to focus on Liam, and I knew he was going to race me hard, but I knew if I wanted a shot at Kevin, I couldn't burn my tires up and, try the apron move or anything yet. And I think me and Liam made some contact,
Yeah.
but it didn't do anything to me. It looked like it hurt him more. And after that, after I was able to clear Liam off of 2, is when I was like, okay, I really actually have a shot at this. And, you earlier were talking about how, you've had things happen where you wanted to quit the league or whatever. And you can ask my teammates, like this season, I mean, I was at the brink of I'm just done. Like it's not fun anymore. I mean, if you go back and watch the broadcast, I had the dumbest stuff happen to me. And but when I don't, I mean, I can run top 10 or top 5 all day. And I'm not being overconfident or anything, but I mean, I I've been doing this for long enough that you give me a good shot at it and I can go get it. So I was getting nervous, but I just knew I couldn't overdrive the car, and I overdrove the car a little bit, and it actually started to level out, and I thought I had given it away pretty much because I was gaining on him, and then it was like 10 to go, and it just leveled out, and I could not get off the corner anymore, and um, you know I think Grant came in there because he didn't race, and he just started, kind of telling me what I needed to do. And I made up a little bit more time, but it leveled off,
Yeah,
and
I
I
mean,
thought I'd give it
after
away.
you passed up Liam, you were almost a second back, and you had gotten to, I think, 4 tenths behind when you had made the move. So you were definitely the fastest car on the track at that point.
I was getting Truex. I was getting Truex at the end of the championship vibes. Last couple laps, or I was like, just maybe need a couple more laps. I mean, I guess technically we didn't really need another lap based off of kind of what happened. Matt, how do we want to do this? Do we want Bradley to explain first, and then we give our reaction? Because we did have a rant. We were texting about this right afterwards. So Matt, what do you think is best? How do we?
We can show the replay. I mean, I think we're there in the conversation. Should we show the replay? I think everyone's probably seen it at this point.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
so I mean, coming off of 2, like I said, Grant was talking to me, and he was just like, if he pretty much said, if you want it, go get it. And he didn't tell me to wreck. My teammates didn't tell me to wreck anybody. And again, my first thought was I'm not gonna go in there and hit this dude and wreck him for the win. Like I said, you guys can go back and watch past broadcasts. I have not like intentionally wrecked somebody except for Jared Mogard, and I got suspended for that at Darlington. But I mean, I don't think anybody had a problem with that situation. But other than that, I have not caused any wrecks on purpose. So again, that was not my intent to go into the corner and hit him. I just, as you guys watched, I used that apron move, I think 3 or 4 times and made it work. And I seen the win there. And after the season I had been having, wanting to quit, I was just like, I need to at least try something. So coming off of 2, Grant says that. So I dial my front brake as far as it'll go to the front. And I think just from dialing the front brake in and not seeing what the distance was, I just kind of misjudged exactly how far back I was and just the speed that I had. And once I got in there, I mean, I knew I was in trouble because the front tires, they didn't grip like they had the last time I had tried the apron move. And I couldn't get it to cut. And I think the front brake kind of caught me off guard too. And as soon as I went in there, I was like, this is bad. Like, this is going to look bad. I knew I was going to hit him, but I was just trying to make it where, if I didn't, or if I did hit him, it was going to be as minimal as I could make it. And that, I mean, I barely clipped his back bumper, or else I would have been in the wall. But I mean, when I hit him, I almost let off the gas to let him go by because I don't want to win that way. But I was just like, I went and took it, and I wanted to win, so I kept my foot in it. But I mean, I almost let him go by because I just felt bad instantly for it because I don't race like that.
Yeah.
I think you look at the move here and like, yeah, you were 4.5 tenths ish back. You make the move. If I'm Kevin, I'm probably blocking low at this point, but I guess this is a standard line. You're sliding up. It's not like you're diving it in there where you're gonna hit the wall if you don't hit him. Like he didn't save you to that point. You're not gonna lose second, right? So you're maybe gonna drift up.
Right.
And you guys probably can't see my cursor, but maybe the top lane here. You're not gonna hit. You're not gonna slam yourself into the wall trying to make this move like Carl Edwards did. Like you hit him a little bit. He's able to save it. Yeah, it's not that great, but
holy, I was we need to give Kevin King some credit here. That was a good save.
He's pretty sideways right here. Yeah, that
was a really good save. It's like he kind of locked it down a little bit. That first of all, that gives a lot of context, Bradley. So I feel like that was a fantastic explanation. There was a lot of stuff that you said there that I've never changed a brake bias before. So
this is why we suck, Nick. This is why we suck.
Yeah. So that's all I could think of. I think I blacked out after you said that because when did you change that? Was that on the back straightaway or was that the lap before? You said that and I was like, I can't believe you just said that. I've never.
Well, it was kind of like slow motion because I came off of 2. And I was just like, I didn't have a good exit off of 2. I didn't gain any time. It just stayed level. And so about halfway down the backstretch, when I knew, I was going to at least try the apron, that's when I dialed it all the way to the front. Like I mashed the button as quick as I could to get the front brake dialed to the front. And like I said, I think that I hadn't had front brake in the car the whole race. And I think that just caught me off guard along with the car didn't cut on the apron like I, had been feeling earlier in the race. I think I'm going to own it. I sent it from too far back. If I was closer, I could have achieved what I wanted to, which was just be at his door and, beat fenders like Gordon and Johnson at Martinsville for it, which is what I wanted. But like I said, just in the moment, changing the brake bias and figuring out exactly where I was going to send the car into the corner, I think I just didn't realize how far back and how much speed I actually had. And I got into him. And like, I also want to give Kevin King credit because, I popped off after the race with some comments that I shouldn't have said because it wasn't intentional. And my comments made it sound intentional, but it wasn't. Like I said to others, I just got heated because I didn't even have really a chance to say, explain my part before I had people, talking crap to me. And I'm the type of person where, if I don't get to, have my chance to say sorry, I'm going to get heated when I'm hearing that stuff. And is that better?
Yeah, I think you're good. Yeah.
All right.
You were good anyway, but yeah,
I didn't think it was that bad.
You're talking to a guy who on the first episode
was literally like
yeah.
It's this headset because when I joined Discord, like some of them can't hear me, so I have to move it, and then sometimes I'm too loud, so I don't know what it is.
Yep, well, I deal with that on a daily basis. Love that explanation. I think it's amazing how real. Maybe Matt, maybe we forget just because we don't know the specifics. Like we don't change brake bias. It's amazing how iRacing can be so real sometimes, where it can make that change instantly, and you're feeling that within the same quarter. You hear what you just said. You hear that in real life all the time, or at least with the old car, you hear that kind of thing in real life all the time. So honestly, that speaks to the service itself. And it speaks to being, honestly, having the smarts to know to do that, because I would not know how to do that unless somebody told me. And then I would have to have somebody tell me how to do that if they were sitting next to me. So that's a concern that we could talk about after the podcast, Matt. But I think, a couple things. It was super impressive. I think anybody watching that live probably would have expected. I was expecting you were going to get maybe like within maybe a car length, and that probably would have been it. I didn't think you could even get to touch him. So that spoke a lot.
Yeah.
Just to being able to get there. This one's a hard one. I think Matt and I definitely, we talked afterward. I was my YouTube comments are on the broadcast, or like they're on the chat. You just can't see my name, so I don't think anybody knew.
Oh, that's what I figured. That was you. Yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was me. Matt and I were super happy, obviously, and that is mainly, I think, because we've raced with you for a while. This was the first that I had known that you had won. So, and like I mentioned earlier, whether it was Sam, Liam, or yourself, I mean, I think that's at least what I was hoping for. Just anyone that I know and that we.
I was like, oh shit, Liam's gonna win on a non-road course. I was like, holy cow, here we go.
We'll talk about that in a moment. But Liam is, God, so impressive. He might win the championship if Andrew can just have one problem. So, and that would just be so cool. But anyway, so I think I guess I just have to go with my initial gut. I'm not going to change it at heart.
Or any of the social.
Yeah, we were just excited, and I didn't even think that we could. Like, I guess I didn't really have a problem with it. But if I'm thinking about it from my standpoint, there's no way that I'm talented enough to get to Kevin's corner panel. I was thinking, like, would I do it if I had the opportunity? I know I would never be able to make up that much time in one corner. That just couldn't possibly happen. So like that would have been too far back for me to even make a decision. I think so. I wouldn't have done it because I know that I don't have the talent to even make that stick without taking both of us out. So that's kind of what I was thinking. And Matt, I don't know about you, but a lot of people. Bradley, you're better than Matt and I for sure. But like Matt and I, like for Matt and I, like if I'm in a position like that, I don't know. I would probably just ask for forgiveness later, right? And I think and then in our point when we started
second place at this point, and somebody posted on Twitter, for the extra 5 bonus points. It's because second means nothing, right? Bradley, you finished second a couple times. I don't know that you're running for a championship. You probably would have been fine with a penalty point here, and that's how the racing should be, right? So like an intentional wreck, it wasn't an intentional wreck, and that's what it was labeled as a penalty. I look at that and I don't think if you were intentionally wrecking him, you'd both be in the wall because you drove it in so hard, right?
That's what I was trying to get across to people was. It would have been easier for me to literally just stay straight in the corner and wipe them out through the door than what I did, which was stay on the brakes.
Where you hit him, and I don't doubt that Kevin made a great save there, right? But where you hit him in the left rear, if the speed differential was that outrageous, you'd both be in the wall because he would have spun and you would have gone around his left rear and you'd both be in the wall, right? So, second place, again, in your situation, if it's me, I guess I'd pat my back, but I'd be thinking, what could I have done differently? Ross Cato's listening. I'm sure like at Daytona, he's thinking, what could I have done differently? Right. And I think in that moment too, it is a lot the guys you race around. And this is, again, just me trying to put myself in your shoe. And the first episode of the podcast was, hey, this is going to be underdog's point of view. We're not as talented, right? So if for some reason I was in your position, right? Yeah. The first thing I'm thinking is, who am I racing against, right? So it's Kevin King, regardless of any history that was between you guys. The dude's very good. He's already won one of his 3 starts. He has, I think, like 10 total wins between Sim 500 and FTF, which are 2 of the premier leagues in iRacing right now, over the last year before he joined us. Why do we feel bad for Kevin in that situation? It's just like he's got so many trophies in the trophy case behind him probably at that point. And it sounded like he handled it as a professional, and I do want to get to that at some point, right?
Yeah,
but
awesome. Yeah.
If I'm you, I'm thinking that is part of it, right? Like, I love Andrew. We had him on the show. He's a great guy. He is like top citizen. Andrew wins like every other week. If he's leading and I got that opportunity. He's getting wrecked because I know Andrew won't lose sleep over him, right? So, so I mean that would have been my attitude. And so you're going in there, and you did the bump and run. You did it as cleanly as possible. Kevin should not be someone who loses sleep over an RSR win. And that's big for you, right? Because you've been here for 2 years. It's been a while since you've gotten a league win. It's on Race Spot TV. All the reasons, Nick, you're very proud of your Clash win. It's bigger for someone who's not at the pro level, right? Like that I rating, I don't know what Kevin's I rating is, but it's probably like 8,000, right? Like the guy wins like every other race he's ever raced, right? So like, I think when you take it in that perspective, I don't understand what taking a win away from you does for anyone, because I don't think Kevin's like, yay, I feel like I won that race. And you're left with whatever feelings in your stomach right now. You look back at that broadcast, I see you won when if you had ever shown that to someone. So that's my point of view on it. At the end of the day, the risk was there that something like this does happen. I don't think you should regret the move. It sounds like you and Kevin had a conversation. Now I'm curious what that conversation was like.
I mean, it went about as good as it can go. I messaged him that same night, and I just explained kind of what happened, like in my point of view, why I did it, why I ended up hitting him, and he just came back with he said it was all good on his end, and he wasn't mad, and he understood, like someone in my situation, being in the league, uh, like I had been, being a regular is what he said, I think. And he said he understood, me going for it. He was just like, sometimes you just have to, I guess, like weigh risk versus reward or whatever. But he he pretty much said that he understood why I went for it, and he wasn't mad at me. He was just like, hopefully we can race cleaner going forward. I said, yeah, I mean, that's what I want too. I want to race everyone clean. But I mean, like I said, I want to give props to him because he handled it way more mature than, most of the people who involved themselves in this for some reason did. And so, like I said, I got to give my hats off to him. We talked man to man and squashed it there, and it's over with between me and him as far as I'm concerned.
So can we talk about a little bit of, I guess actually before we leave the race in that moment, you had the contact with Kevin, the comment was made after you crossed the finish line. I guess what's going through your head at this point? We didn't get to hear the instant reaction because you weren't able to join the team speak. So I'm curious that story as well, or if you just decided like I'm dipping out at this point. But what's going through your head after you crossed the finish line, winning the race, or at least you had thought unofficially?
Well, the team speak thing, I don't know what happened because I joined and I could hear them, but I don't know if something was wrong with my mic or what. But I mean,
Nick
I was
had the
in
same
there.
issue at the Clash, yeah.
Yeah, I was in there to do it, but I mean, after the race, like I said, I was excited. Then it was like instantly, like, oh shit, and then it was like, okay, these people were all coming at me, and the only one I want to talk to is Kevin. Um, and then I got my teammates getting involved because they want to defend me, and it was just like a big mess. And I honestly, I didn't even feel that good anymore. I just wanted to take my pictures and be done, to be honest, because I knew what was coming after that. People were gonna, the way that they were reacting in the chat of the race, I knew what was gonna happen in Discord later, and I wasn't wanting to deal with that because, like I said, I mean, I've been in this league for, let's count this, 3 seasons now, and that was my first real shot at it, and so it went from high to real low real quick.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate part, of the whole situation. Obviously, like, I hate that for you. And of course, what do? We bring you on a podcast 48 hours later to talk about some more. I think Sam made a comment, I think yesterday on the Discord, that was just like, it's been a day, like, get over it. So then that was Matt's cue to really make this happen, I think. So
Well, I will say, like, I'm really glad that y'all offered me this because I wanted a chance to. It's hard to explain stuff over text, and I can explain it better to everyone who wants to listen of my side of it, and just try to clear my name with whoever wants to listen to this, that I'm not an intentional wrecker, and that was not intentional on the trying to spin him out for the win. Was I going in there to at least get into his door and bang fenders for it? Of course, that's what I expected to happen. But to go in there and turn him or put him in the wall for the win, definitely not my intention.
Yeah, I think yeah, we kind of talked, Matt. You kind of made the good point. I think maybe our views is different. Pretty much. You look at one Kevin King's I rating is over 7,500, right? So, and we're seeing some numbers in there that are like super damn good. Mine is at almost an all-time high of 2,800. So, it's just a little different. So, I think the situation kind of is different. I will say, yeah. These are some good guys. So I think it kind of depends on for Matt and I think it definitely depends on the situation. Like, the unfortunate thing about doing this podcast and knowing everyone is every single person who's commented in this chat, and like obviously you, Bradley, and like flat out, like I don't know if I could do it now. I don't think I could. I don't know. I would just be like this. I would knowingly know I have no shot at a win, and probably in that situation not do it, because I don't think I could. I would if I had no connection to anyone in the league or whatever from my side, like I would totally do it, right? And you're right. If it was like Andrew or like Kevin, like the highest of I ratings, yeah, I mean I wouldn't feel so bad about that, except for the backlash, I guess, afterward. I mean, I feel bad that I did it. I would know that it happened, that you made contact, but it is very situational, for me at least. So I was actually surprised. I think I was surprised. I looked at the vote that RSR had just before we got on here, because I was just curious. So I don't know if there was some sort of voter fraud or something, because when I did it, it was like 50%. I'm joking. Like 50-50 split. Definitely don't think that. It was about 67. It was about 2/3 kind of agreed with the call. I don't know. Which I totally get. I totally get why people would say that, especially if you're Kevin. I understand why, you'd be frustrated. You guys have talked about it, so that's good. I am surprised that was the ruling. And I think we had a couple conversations, Matt. I think we were pretty surprised as well. Were you surprised? I don't think you asked this. Were you surprised, Bradley, with the call?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I thought, maybe some penalty points and at most a suspension, but I didn't think that they would take the win away, because, I mean, like, the dude saved it, never even got damage. I didn't even get damage, and he still finished second. Like I said, I didn't go in there and clean the dude out and like put us both up in flames. So I didn't really expect to have the win taken away from me. When, I mean, we seen, like Sam said, we seen Adam. He put Sam in the wall at Michigan for a win. And also, I mean, Michael, my teammate, lost the championship because a guy came in there who had not been racing for weeks. Came in there and caused,
we might have talked about that on a previous episode.
Caused like 6 cautions, and everybody makes him the joke of the league and thinks it's funny. Like, and I do it for the first time ever to someone, and it's on accident for a win, and I get my name dragged through the mud and a win taken away. So that part I didn't really understand.
I think you were. I don't know how freely we could speak, Matt. But you like drama. Like, God, I wish we could. I really like. Why is this win taken away and not Adam's? Like, nobody wanted Adam to win. Like, like, come on. Why didn't we? We should have just taken that one away.
And the thing is, like,
we just go back and take it away and just give it to Sam. I mean, it's been 5 months, but
the poll, to me, it says 67% was the right call. I mean, 33% said it wasn't. And if you're going to take a win from someone, like, that doesn't feel like, if you had left it to the people's vote, that doesn't feel like enough to take a win from someone. And again, like I had touched on before, who feels good after this when you'd make that decision to pull the win, right? I mean, we saw it happen. Bradley, you crossed the finish line first, and at least that's a moment for you again, all the reasons you had stated, it should not have been classified as intentional wrecking, and he was able to continue. He finished second still. And that almost makes you wonder, well, if Kevin doesn't finish second and Liam beats him to the line, and I'll go back to the replay real quick because I was going to show this too. I was like, nobody talked about this, but with Bradley being disqualified, the finish here is like they're side by side coming across the line. They don't even know they're racing for the win, right? Liam and Kevin here.
This makes me sad. This makes me sad now.
And
this is more sad than it did before.
Yeah, you see right here, like that's like photo finish right there for what was apparently the win.
I hate that.
And
that could be the decider.
Who, like, if Liam beats Kevin to the line there, Kevin gets wrecked, but then Liam gets the win. Like, is it the same result? Like, do we still agree that Bradley should have been disqualified? Or are we disqualifying Bradley because Kevin was leading going into 3 and 4? I just nobody, even with that ruling, I don't know who feels good about that in general. I don't think it fixes anything. It's enough of a gray area where if I'm in that position, this does not change. I would rather get disqualified and win crossing the line on Race Spot TV than finish second and not try. Right. So I don't know that there's anything gained, and it just leaves a lot of sour taste in people's mouth, in my opinion. So my opinion doesn't really matter, and I'm not very good. So, but that was my gut feeling when I saw the reaction. Honestly, and Nick, you're like, oh, well, we got to get Bradley on here because of this. Honestly, when I had heard the news, I was like, and I texted you, Nick, I was like, oh, I'm so frustrated. I have no like dog in the fight here. And I was so frustrated. I was like, I don't want to do this. Like, oh, that's so frustrating. But I mean, controversy is a part of it. I'm sad the win got taken away. Just, I guess I would say there are people, and you see in the Twitter vote too, it's still 33% out of 57. That's almost 20 people out of the 60 that voted that said, basically said they would have done the same thing and that it should have stood as a win. So I'm one of those 20 people who would have done the same thing. So if I'm in second, maybe us putting this out there, if for some reason I'm ever in second and we're coming to the line, think that on this podcast I said it and maybe you'll mess up thinking too hard about it. So yeah, it is what it is at this point.
Yeah, like I said, I appreciate you guys, still wanting to do the podcast with me. So it's mainly so I could explain, in words instead of trying to explain on text what went through the process of that whole situation, and that it was not ever intentional to spin him for the win or clean him out or whatever like that.
Like there was that comment, and maybe a lot of people feel like this. We should hold the league to a different standard because it's iRacing. It's not NASCAR. Well, for some of us, this is like as close as it's going to get to NASCAR. This is our NASCAR experience. RaceBot TV puts on premier broadcast, right, for everyone. This does feel like NASCAR. This is the NASCAR of iRacing for most of us, right? So,
right.
I would have treated it the same way. I think you do look at it in that spotlight. And you know what? RSR's been tweeting about it. They got the votes. It was like 60 votes on this poll. People are watching the clips. Everybody's talking about it. You haven't seen Bradley Burk take out Kevin King for the win. You're living under a rock. Like Evan and RSR got to be pretty happy that this happened. I mean, it made it for a challenging decision, but there's a lot of promotion out of this as well. So I'm disappointed with the ruling. I think I've said that a few times. I just want to make sure. I really don't agree with kind of the backlash. I think anyone should see why you did it. The fact that you and Kevin were able to come to an understanding should be enough for everyone else. And we should be able to kind of leave this where it is now that a decision has been made. And they're really outside of this shouldn't be, anything negative, I guess, towards you. I guess that's my feeling.
Well, that's what I was going to say is, I mean, like I said, me and Kevin squashed it pretty much that night. But then the next day on Twitter, RSR is tweeting about it like crazy. And I didn't really appreciate that, especially the way they were wording some of the stuff. like they kind of instigated me being a dirty driver, in my opinion, with some of the tweets that they were using and some of the way that they were wording stuff, like saying about, like, they made sure to point out I came from 5 car lengths back, and all they did was post a picture of me hitting him. Like, they didn't post, any other context.
I didn't listen to the audio, but apparently one of the announcers was saying that they were making sure that you were going to get disqualified for that move.
Whoever, I guess, Evan wasn't there because of his birthday, and there was some guy in there. And yeah, pretty much after the race, he was saying stuff about, in his opinion, I should be DQ'd right then, and this and that. It didn't even need to be reviewed, and blah blah blah. And I was
Really,
just like,
Justin did that? Wow.
No, I don't know his name. I never heard him talk before in the league. His last name was Myers or something.
No, Nolan wouldn't have either. It was the backup, one of the 3 admins, the secret admins, Eric Myers. Yeah.
Yeah.
That to me sounds kind of unprofessional, right? If we're going to hold ourselves to a higher standard. And Evan does a really good job of that.
Right.
If there's any controversy, he just shuts his mouth and lets it run out, and then he'll make his decision in the background, right? Which is more appropriate. We don't need to play sides. But I like was it I don't know who it was in the Discord who pointed out an honest admin. We found one of them. Good job, guys.
It's called Racecraft. I love that. Oh, that's my favorite line of all time. I think overall, the nice thing is, even, when we have, I guess we can kind of wrap up New Hampshire. I think this was a good, I feel like we're like the Dale Jr. download. We bring people in, and then, the world heals. I think that's that's what happens. But we, in a series where I think maybe Matt's going to show a clip here we can take a look at, but in a series where Andrew Freenage can,
I haven't even seen it yet. I'm sorry. I didn't even mean to see that out loud. I just see the link name.
Yeah. But it's really nice that there's been some really incredible finishes well before I even came to the league, and that was racing. We have some really good racing. I think that obviously Andrew winning another title will be great, but I think I feel like every week I'm the biggest Liam Sheen fangirl that you could probably ask for. So I know that him and Michael Lariah they got a shot if things play the right way to maybe win a championship, which I think would just be incredible. So much fun. Not saying that we're rooting for that, but I think I am. So a little bit of chaos is pretty good, or at least keep it close. And Matt, you're on mute. He's on mute. Yep, he's on mute. He's still talking. Matt, you're on mute. Yep. Are you off mute now?
Yeah, I'm off mute now. Sorry about that. No, I was just saying that. Sorry, I was pulling up the video that I got sent me. Yeah, no, I was just getting to the point that Andrew's got enough trophies back in the background there to he doesn't need any more. Nothing against Andrew. We love Andrew.
I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited. You know what's really been fun? This is my last point about the Winter Series. We don't have power rankings or anything, but I feel like it's kind of, I know not everybody's in running kind of for the championship that maybe ran in Cup, but there seems to be some newer faces that have been really coming up and been impressive. I saw William on here, and he outruns me by a mile and a half now. So
he's on KIR now. That's why.
Yeah, I really think it's got to be that. And there's a lot of good. So it's been exciting to watch, even if I haven't been in all the races. So really good job, league. It's been fun. It's been nice.
I've been surprised that if I'm not racing, you'd think it's because I don't have the time, but somehow I'm still watching the races.
That's what I know. I didn't race, and I was still watching. And I think a lot of people still watch it. The racing is really pretty damn good. It's just,
I mean, it's crazy what you can do with the stock car when you have to lift off the gas and use the brake through the corners.
Well,
that's the thing. We're not good at that.
For Matt and I, it's fall farther toward the back. I think.
I was excited for the new next gen package because it was going to equalize the field and remove the talent, and that was my opportunity.
Well, I'll teach you how to adjust your brake bias.
I know. I need to get in some of these
There's
practices.
way more than
Literally,
that I'm sure we'll need, but maybe that'll gain us a spot or two.
Flat Out has been so generous and asking me to go in these sessions, and I miss them. I'm not home, or I see them after, or I'm not racing. So
it's a step ahead of Danson, who always had brought up on the podcast that he would help us out and never reached out.
I know. I've been too busy. Maybe I think we may have him back at some point too this year.
I would hope so. Yeah.
We will. So
we just and it's not even Danson at this point. It's aligning schedules. So
yeah, we'll get that worked out. But I don't know, Matt. What else do you? Do we have that much more to talk about? And we had a clip that we wanted to see. Can you show it, or is it too?
Liam, do I need audio? Because I don't know that I have audio set up. Do I need audio for this clip you want me to show? Nah? Okay. Okay, I can try. One of the things I'm trying to do is we're going to do the podcast because they're going to take less effort. So I don't have everything downloaded. Don't expect the same technical quality, but I think I can do this.
Yeah, well, the money's going to all of the Keeping It Real esports cars.
Oh, no, you're right. But the money for us is coming from Boosted. So we should probably thank Tom Morano and Boosted.
Oh, yeah, big thanks to Boosted for being on my car.
Yeah, they're on your car too, right?
Yep.
Do we have? I think we got to.
So shout out to them. We'll be right back after 30 seconds. Yeah, we're going back. We got to start talking to Bradley about how awesome he is. I only have 30 seconds to squeeze something in there.
Okay. Throw up some racecraft.
Yeah.
I don't think he's got notifications on.
Oh no.
And if anybody gets mad at the Mara Racing Network, it's just going to go on Matt's DMs, not mine. So.
I just want to thank you guys.
We're just staring in my face now. I don't like this. Okay.
Don't worry, Brad.
Attention.
We are going to get to the thank yous in a moment. Trust me. Once Matt gets, I'm afraid.
Nick's face. Okay, it's Nick's face that's in the way here. Okay. There we go. Okay, we can watch this.
I am loving that Jeff Gordon in the background, though. I will say that.
Oh, this is my nemesis. You guys are showing me.
He's everyone's nemesis. Yeah. Okay. Look at his face. It's the same face he had after he won at Michigan.
Do you guys want to know why he hates me?
I gotta stop.
I think we can do that. Yes. Why is that, Bradley?
He hates me because in 2016 in a league race, I accidentally hit him and turned him at Martinsville. And he has held a grudge since 2016 against me for that.
Well, that is tip. He's on mute again. We've gotten two. You're on mute again. Are you there? No, he's on mute again. I don't think we're going to be able to get the last 10 laps of Rockingham, but I am curious to know how was it fun? Do we know how it was fun?
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now.
Well, Sam lost basically. Sam finished second. So Sam caught up because Andrew got caught up in some lap traffic. It came from quite a far bit back, and I guess you had to run off 3 and 4 off of 4 to get barely side by side. But I guess I don't unless there was some lap traffic in the way at some point that I missed. I don't know where the BS was, but it was a close finish. It was a great run. In fact, I think at the beginning of that run, you were like 4.5 seconds back. So the fact that you got that close was pretty amazing itself. Oh, BS, we won't show it. You want us to show you finished second? We could show Michigan. You finished second there.
No, we could show it. Let's show. Can you pull? Why don't you pull it up while
Give me
we
the
do
link. Yeah, give me the link, Sam, and we'll share.
Well, you can pull it up while we do that because we're not gonna because we will drag this out for 3 hours.
Yeah, we're over the hour mark. We've already missed
we're
our
not gonna
first
do-
episode
yeah,
of
we
the
are-
new year. Yeah.
And we're not going to do that. So while Matt gets the link before we show the last set, honestly, I felt bad for Sam when I saw the margin of victory. So I didn't watch the end.
It's just like, okay, and I'm not Andrew, but like Ross at Daytona, Sam at Rockingham, like, come on, like, can you just lose a couple? Like, those would have been great races to lose.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Well, Matt, pull that link, get that up. Bradley, we talked about this during the 30-second boosted ad. But obviously, this is our first show in a while, and the Mara Racing Network really loves drama, and I think this was drama, nevertheless. And we really appreciate you coming onto the show. I think this was honestly, I thought it was fantastic. So, thank you for coming on, and who would you like to thank? Sponsors, people, what have you, for the league and your team and all that?
Well, I appreciate you guys letting me come on here. I definitely would for sure want to join again and have some more conversations. But I mean, since Sam's in here, I gotta thank him for being the pit bull of the team. When someone's coming after one of us, he's on the chat having their ass. So I gotta thank my other teammates, Grant, Michael, Joey. We've all known each other for a while now, and I really enjoy having them as my teammates. And again, I got to thank Boosted for supporting the team and being on my car. And then Get Wet Sports for sponsoring me for the whole winter series. And right before Rockingham, they actually announced that they're going to be on my cup car for some races this coming season. So excited to have them back. And hopefully we'll have another nice paint scheme for them.
Car's beautiful. That car,
the flat out car. Switch it up. The car looks great. I guess maybe switch it up for the number moving forward.
Yeah, I think we'll have to because of the number, but I kind of want to stay kind of like the design that it is right now. Everyone seems to like it.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful. All those cars on that team look awesome. So, okay, let's see what we got. We got
this run in the background. He won 9 laps. I mean, we're not going to sit here for 5 minutes and watch this, are we?
We could watch. Is this 9? We'll kind of watch it. Are we at 9 to go? If we can maybe move forward a little bit, we can. But while we do that, I guess Matt, who should we think? How far behind? Oh, Sam, you're going to make up a lot of ground really quick. So while we and Matt,
not till a few laps to go too. I guess he gained a second there. He's still second back with 3 to go.
Yeah. With this, one of the reasons why I think that I have been a little more hesitant to run some of the races here is because in situations like this, when you're a lap car and you're just going so much slower than some of these guys, you don't want to get in their way. So obviously that sounds like that maybe is what happened here, but I know there was one time where I think I remember Sam coming up and I felt like maybe I cost you like maybe a 1/10 of a second. And I was like, shit. Like, like you just feel like you feel bad. And when you see the result. And so,
well, at least you guys try to get out of the way.
Yeah. What causes, Kyle actually was behind Andrew right here. And Kyle actually passed up Andrew, which caused all of this. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. See that there's a lot. There's a lot going on in a race, but you think back to, and Bradley, you're right. I know I try and get out of the way, and I lose too much time getting out of the way. So, this is the end right here.
Yeah, that's the last lap.
Oh, so I guess at the end, man, I wish I was paying a little more attention there to the end. So, probably one more lap. One more lap. I feel like with Sam, I need Sam to win now. I just need it to happen already. I think
you got to tell him to switch to a Chevy like the rest of his teammates.
Oh, I was gonna say. Well, someone must be a Penske fan, I'm assuming. So
Yeah, unfortunately.
his cars are beautiful too. So I'll never get that winter scheme from last year out of my head. I don't think ever. So no, don't retire, Sam. Don't retire. So hopefully that happens soon. You're too fast every week. So Matt, before we go, who do we want to thank? I don't even know if we have sponsors anymore, but he's on mute again.
You guys can thank one of your 10 drivers with your logo in the league.
You know what? I think it's happening, but I can't say for sure. Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's making me like switch the mic each time.
Okay.
For sure. Oh, our sponsors.
Yeah. Who do we need to thank?
I mean, technically all of our sponsors ended with the Cup Series, but thanks to anyone who's supported us in the past. Everyone who's been on the show, thanks mostly for our listeners. This has been a good time for coming in here, and it's been a while, 3.5 months. We're on a Wednesday, new date. We'll continue to do things kind of ad hoc like this. And so thanks to everyone who's joined and listened. So
I think to that point, Matt, I think we will. And then when we do this and we have so much participation, maybe, we could obviously talk about this, but I really think we should get people. One, we'll have Danson back in some capacity. It sounds like we'll work on that a little better than, thinking of something in 24 hours like we just did. But a lot of these guys that are in the chat, I think would be really fun to have on again. I think we're definitely at that point with the new season. And of course, Bradley as well. We had a lot of great guests. A lot of them are in this chat, and even a couple that aren't. That hey, Ross could always be on the show. So I know I saw him in the chat. There's a couple of others as well. We'll do. I was excited. This went well. This didn't exhaust me by the end.
This was the taste we needed to want to continue doing it. So I appreciate you putting that, giving that to us, Bradley.
No problem.
So I do think we'll do this again soon, especially that we're actually keeping to about an hour here.
Yeah, you know what we'll do? We'll have to do a 1-year Clash anniversary. That's what we'll have to do, a Clash anniversary.
We'll have a watch party. Why don't we have a watch party? We just watch last year's. We'll get everyone in the chat here. We'll watch last year's Clash. We'll all have some drinks. Put everybody's cameras up on the screen.
Oh, man. I'm going to be so sad when we pass our 1-year Clash anniversary. We have to go out with a bang. We should probably do something like that. No, we'll talk about that.
We have to go out with a Clash.
What?
So we have to go out with a Clash.
I know, literally. That was unintended. Yeah. So, all right, guys. Well, that was a lot of fun. Good luck. I maybe we'll do one at the end of the year. We'll figure it out. But good luck. Yeah, I'll give you like the director's cut version of the Clash.
And Evan's voiceover. Yes.
Yeah. Good luck. Everybody in this chat right now. Obviously, Drew coming another championship. That's great. But Liam. Specifically, you have a real shot. So
everyone who's listening too. Thanks to everyone else who's listening. Maybe not live, but
not live. Good luck, everyone. Mara Motorsports will try and be as least amount of a factor as we can. Bradley, good luck. I'm not gonna lie. We talked a little bit about it over chat, but I personally hope that you get the win this weekend. How great of a redemption story would that be for RSR and for the social media and all that? So we wish you luck. Really appreciate it. Have a great night, everybody. We will see you guys soon. And this has been After the Turns 2022. We're back.
Yeah.